individuals out there. It is day 13 of the 30-day Fruitarian Challenge, and I'm here to give you my update. But first, I want to apologize for what happened yesterday. I don't know if any of you got a chance to tune into my live yesterday, but I was out at a festival. I was trying to go live at the festival. I thought it would be great for the ambiance, things of that nature, kind of change it up a little bit. Not to mention it was getting late and I knew I had to go live. But unfortunately, technology wasn't working with me. The connection was horrible. My sound was horrible. And better yet, on top of that, I wasn't even able to upload the entire video. So only 40 seconds of it actually uploaded. So I went and I deleted that and figured, you know what, I'll give everybody an update about day 12 and day 13 in one video. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to allow some people to jump on while I, kind of go over what my last 2-day diets have been. And then I also want to get to a couple comments that I received and which had some interesting aspects of the fruitarian diet that I think some people might have a misconception about. So I want to get to that as well. But as far as yesterday goes, yesterday being a Saturday, my daughter's soccer game was canceled. So pretty much I went and got a haircut, and then we went to that festival. Now, social things can always be difficult when you're on a fruitarian diet or a raw diet or even a vegan diet, just because of options. And then also being around a bunch of people that are eating foods that you might be addicted to. You got to deal with the smells and you got to deal with just the ambiance of it, the social atmosphere and whatnot. So I knew that yesterday was going to be difficult. All right. So as far as what I ate, I started off the day eating some bananas as usual. And what I tried to do before we went to the festival, because the festival we left for it at around 5 o'clock. Oh, I also had a smoothie too. I apologize. I had a smoothie. It was a dragon fruit, acai, and apple smoothie, right? That I got on the way from a little cafe on the way home. All right. So what I did was I knew that it was going to be rough. My wife was talking about it. She was worried about it. Man, there's going to a bunch of different food trucks. And occasionally when we go to festivals like this, there's this, is it Haitian? It might be like a Haitian food truck. I don't know. It's some type of Caribbean food truck that has vegan options that are just really, really tasty. So we were worried about that as well. So what I did was I basically followed through on a tip that I give all of you, and that is never go to a social function or a grocery store when you're hungry. So, with that being said, I ensured that I was not hungry when we went to this festival. I loaded up on a bunch of dried mango to fill myself up, and it helped tremendously. So I was able to go to the festival and be completely fine. In fact, I ate so much that I think I ate too much, where my stomach was like overly full. And I felt that throughout the night. So I didn't even have a craving, even with the smells and the thoughts and watching. Like my daughter, for instance, ate some French fries, and my wife's best friend, she ate some chips and she ate a corn dog, but I don't give a damn about that. I ain't worried about that. But all the smells, all the different food trucks. They had a food truck that had falafel. We're big fans of falafel, things of that nature, right? And we were not, at least I could speak for myself, I was not in any way feeling the true pull or feeling the true addiction come on or feeling like I was about to break my 30 days. So that was good. What's up, Kylie? Kylie, hi, how are you? Will there be one? Hi. What's up? What's up? What's up? Thank you guys for jumping on. So that was fine. And then, by the end of the night, we did get a little bit hungry. So we stopped at there's a little Mexican restaurant right by the festival. And look, you go to a Mexican restaurant, almost impossible to find raw food, specifically that matches the fruitarian diet. Kinley, that makes so much more sense than what I was trying to say. Appreciate you jumping on. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Hope you guys are having a fantastic Sunday night. And appreciate you guys sharing some time with me, sharing time and energy with me. So yeah, you go to a Mexican restaurant and there's like nothing there. So we asked them. Some restaurants will do like tableside guac, where we can actually pick the items that go into the guac. Well, this place particular, they don't do that. They basically make the guac early in the day and it just sits there all day, which is definitely not the type of food you want to eat, but it is what it is. So we asked them, said, hey, could you just, bring something out fresh and we can make our own guac. So basically what they did, oh, I'm awesome. Thank you, Kenley. I really appreciate that. You are fantastic as well. So they just brought us out some avocado, some tomato, and some limes, and we created our own guacamole. And it was very tasty. It hit the spot, and it was absolutely perfect. So it all worked out Saturday night. The only thing that didn't work out was my live, but you guys are here with me now, and I'm sharing that right now. So as far as today goes, Sundays sometimes can be tough because, like I said, I'm used to watching football, having football snacks, things of that nature. But I kept it real simple. I ate a golden honeydew first thing at 12, right around noon, which is right when kickoff is for football in the Central Time Zone. Had that. I had about a pound of grapes. Then I made myself a smoothie, a leafy green, mango, and banana smoothie. And I had a little bit of dried mango. And that was pretty much my. Oh, no, I did have one of my wife's raw walnut brownies, right? 100% fruitarian. It's walnuts and dates. Basically, that's all it's made of. Not basically, that is all it's made of. So I had two of those, actually, two of those. So I did up it on the fat a little bit, but 100% fruitarian, like I said. So good there, and I feel absolutely fine. And looking forward to tomorrow, which would be day 14, I believe. So Kaylee, I'm the best. Oh no, you're the best. You're the best. That is what's up. Sorry, there's no one else on here. No, there's a few people on here. We're going to get more and more and more. But I am sharing my updates on my 30-day fruitarian diet. So a couple people did have some comments, and I wanted to address this one specifically today, and I'll continue to address these throughout the lives. Is somebody brought up vitamins, right? Somebody brought up, not being able to get enough vitamins on the fruitarian diet. And I think that's a really big misconception because the fruit and leafy green and vegetable kingdom truly give you all the vitamins and minerals you need to survive, not only survive, but thrive. There is a misconception as well that the fruit today is not as good as it was, you know, 70 years ago or 100 years ago. And, whatever the case may be, whatever tests or whatever reports might show that, you have to understand where those reports are coming from. The beauty of fruit, the beauty of things that grow from the earth is the whole process of how it's conjured up in the first place. It's conjured up through nature. It's conjured up through the earth, through the obviously the air, through the sun, through water. All the different elements make up and the actual electromagnetic energy that are in these foods. And we are a product of those foods. So just as the food changes, well, we're going to change because we are all one. And I think that we get caught up, and this is by design, we get caught up in the minutia of things like micronutrients and things that we think we need to survive, when the truth is that the fruit that grows from the earth, being the same product as us, is ultimately, the perfect elixir for us to actually survive and become the best version of ourselves. So when we start thinking, we start getting into that realm, I call that like the 3D realm of trying to materialize everything. That's when we get caught up. You know what I'm saying? So think of that if you're looking to implement more fruits or do a fruitarian diet or become 100% fruitarian, whatever the case may be, don't get misconstrued and kind of thrown off your path by looking at things that truly do not matter. What matters is you're eating whole food, raw food in its natural form, so you can nourish your body with the nutrients and vitamins that are built into that whole fruit, not a part of the fruit, the entire fruit. That is the combination to the lock of true health. When you start to isolate things, when you start to isolate the vitamin C and the vitamin A and the vitamin K and the zinc and the potassium and the when you start to isolate those things, you start to lose sight of what's truly important, and that is the combination of all of it together. Right. So don't get misconstrued. I know, there's a lot of propaganda out there against eating a heavy fruit or a heavy raw vegan type of diet because a blood test or doctors or healthcare or the media will tell you that you're missing out on all these different nutrients. But you have to, like, I would challenge you or anybody out there to do some research on how these actual vitamins and minerals were discovered in the first place. It's imperative you do that so you know the genesis of it, because these things, these discoveries and whatnot did not exist 100, 200, 300 years ago, right? B12 was discovered in like the mid 1900s, right? And all of a sudden, B12 is something that vegans and raw vegans and even vegetarians are missing out on. Just think of that for a second, right? So just the simple things like that. So don't get caught up in all that, right? The main thing is that you're getting the vital energy, the raw energy from these foods, and your body takes those energy, and honestly, it creates a lot of the things itself, right? So if you're eating from the earth, remember you are a product of the earth. Therefore, you're in symbiosis with nature when you're eating those foods. Don't get caught up in the minutia aspect of it. So let's see some of these comments here. I have to go. I'll be back in a few minutes. Well, we'll be waiting for you, Kinley. Will there be one? How was your mood been during this hour? I take ashwagandha to even me out during my fasting and vegetarian journey. Hey, to each his own, man. If that works for you, that's great. And whatnot. Fasting is obviously extremely important when it comes to healing, because your body's not utilizing any of its energy for digestion, so it has more energy to heal, definitely. And then the vegetarian journey, um, more power to you, man. I went vegetarian about 8 years ago, and then I, move that into 100% plant-based, to not to where I'm like a majority fruitarian, so somewhere around 85 to 90% nothing but fruitarian and whatnot. So props to you. I'm not an ashwagandha guy, but like I said, to each his own. To each his own. So more power to you, man. Thank you for sharing that, for sure. So that's just one I wanted to touch on with the vitamins. If you have any questions, I know if there's specific vitamins. I know protein is one of the things that's always pushed because people unfortunately don't understand like what protein does and how it actually works and the process your body goes through to utilize it. So that's always a big one. I know B12 is always a huge one, mainly because people don't understand that B12 is something that's actually created by your body. And it really comes down to if your body is able to absorb it. If your body cannot absorb it due to years and years and decades and generations of bad eating habits, acid forming eating habits, then you will not be able to utilize that B12 and absorb it. So that's where people come with the B12 issues. It has nothing to do with if you're on a vegan diet or a raw fruit diet or whatever the case may be. So that's a huge misconception. And the amount of B12 you actually need is so minute. Like it's not even worth discussion, to be totally honest. Like I said, go do some research on how B12 actually was founded and created, and I'm sorry, not founded, but not created, but when it was discovered, and understand that like we've been on this planet for, hundreds of thousands of years, right? So it's not like B12 is a new thing. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, just a little bit of knowledge there for anybody who is worried about doing a diet like this or implementing more fruits into their diet. Because I just tell everybody, I like to keep things simple. Look at things logically. You're telling me that eating a ribeye is going to be healthier for me than eating bananas and apples. Like, does that make any logical sense? any, in any form or fashion, because some people will tell you that that ribeye is going to give you a ton of protein and it's going to give you B12, and that's why you have to eat meat, right? That's basically telling me that eating meat is going to be healthier than eating fruit. Like that makes zero sense on so many different levels, like so many different levels. So yeah, don't get caught up in the propaganda aspect of it. And yeah, like I said, don't get caught up in the vitamin aspect. Fruits and the fruitarian diet is the gold standard. It's what we are physiologically built to eat. And don't worry about if the fruit is as good as it was 100 years ago, because we are a product of nature, and the fruit is a product of nature, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. Are they using fertilizers on our fruit? Of course. Are there chemicals on a lot of the fruit? Yes. But guess what? When obviously wash your fruit, that's the first thing. Try to get organic if you totally can. But at the end of the day, those chemicals, things like that, right, are just a minuscule aspect of you on your path to health. Like, don't worry about eating a non-organic apple when you're eating Doritos every other day. You know what I'm saying? Like, weigh the risk here. You feel what I'm saying? Just make the steps towards eating more fruits, eating more raw foods into your diet. And then you could start worrying about those little details like that. Wash your fruit, try to get organic if you can. If you can grow your own fruit, even better. All those things are important. But it's like majoring in the minor, right? Focus on the diet. You know what I'm saying? Focus on the diet. Focus on implementing these foods first, and then start worrying about that. Okay? And don't worry about, like I said, don't worry about, people telling you you're not going to get enough calcium, you're not going to get enough zinc, all those different things, because they don't matter. They do not matter. Okay? I'm not saying the vitamins don't matter. I'm saying that the information that you're receiving on them do not matter, because you're eating the foods that are meant for your body. So whatever combination those fruits and leafy greens, nuts and seeds are bringing to you are ultimately what your body needs to be at its best. Okay? Remember, a blood test is only a snapshot of what's going on at that moment. That's all it is. So understand that. All right? So it's very key. And maybe I'll do a video on blood tests and things of that nature. But I wanted to give everybody an update, day 12 and day 13 on this one. I'll be back tomorrow to talk about day 14, and keep throwing questions in the comments, and I'll definitely address those on my lives, so more people out there can get the information. Sometimes people are scared to ask questions, so if you got a question, ask it. That might help them answer something, and ultimately we all get better for it. I love answering this stuff because there's so many misconceptions of things, right? I've been doing the fruitarian thing for a few years now, right? Now, like I said, 85 to 90% of what I eat is fruitarian, right? And it's not just about detoxing. We detox every single day. That's what people have to understand. We detox every day. Now, if you're dealing with something heavy, right? You're dealing with some type of ailment, you feel something, something's going on. Yes, you want to make sure that you're eating the right diet or not eating at all in order for that to pass through. That is absolutely fact. But the main thing is that, it's not going fruitarian, and fruitarian isn't just about detoxing. It's about eating the foods that your body was built to do so it can detox naturally, right? Detoxing shouldn't be a periodic thing. Detoxing is something that you do every single day, right? It's just your body has to conjure up enough energy to do those things. But if you're constantly burdening your body with, digestion, because you're eating foods that aren't natural to the body, that are foreign chemistry, then you're not going to have that energy. So that's what's imperative to understand. That's why my philosophy, the EAT, energy efficiency, is the first part of it. And to me, the most important part. How much energy am I getting from this food versus how much am I expending in the digestion process? You want to eat foods that have high energy and have low burden on your digestion. What's the number one food? It's fruits, right? If you want to get more technical, actually the number one fruit would be melons, because they high energy, super high water content, and super easy to digest at the end of the day. But all fruits fall into that. You know, your fatty fruits are probably going to be the ones that take the longest to digest, but there's only a few of those. Your coconuts, your avocados, right? You don't want to eat those every day, for sure. But I hope that makes sense to everybody. And if it doesn't, I'd say put it into play. Like if it's hard to buy into, put it into play. The next time, um, you're feeling something, maybe you have a cold or something like that, you probably shouldn't be eating anyway, but, stick to fruits and watch how your body gets through that cold extremely quickly and how good it feels afterwards. So just throwing that out there. Let's see. How do I start on a fruitarian diet? Can I eat different fruits or stick with one fruit group at a time? That's a great, great, great question. Thank you, Arlene. So what I say, depending on where your diet is, right? I always start with one meal a day, right? One meal a day, switch it and change it from whatever you are currently eating to just a fruit meal to get yourself used to eating fruit every day. When I say eating fruit, I'm not saying like a snack, but actually a meal's worth, about 500 to 600 calories worth of fruit. Might take you a while to build up, for your stomach to get used to that. But that's the easiest way to start on it. And as far as what type of fruits, a couple things. Number one, it depends on what type of eater you are. Like I'm a mono eater, so I like to eat one fruit at a time. So if you like I would say pick a fruit that you truly enjoy and start with that. If it's apples, then just start with apples. One meal a day, just about 4 to 5 apples, maybe 5 to 6 apples in one sitting in one meal, and make that change. See how you feel. Notice how you feel, and then build from that. The main thing about fruits and mixing them is you want to make sure you have proper food combining because certain fruits digest faster than others. So you have your sweet fruits, which are like your bananas, your figs, your papayas, right? And then you have your sub-acid fruits, which are like mango and apples and grapes. And then you have your acid fruits, which are going to be your berries, mostly your berries. You don't want to mix your acid with your sweet. So you don't want to eat bananas with your berries because the berries, they they digest faster than the banana. So what happens is your body is always going to take as long as the longest food that you're digesting. Meaning, if you eat a banana and some berries, it's going to take the length of the banana time to digest. So what happens is the berries start to ferment in your stomach. And I know that's a lot thrown at you at one time, Arlene. but just trying to give you an idea of eating multiple fruits. So you want to make sure you're eating, like if you're going to eat multiple fruits together, that you're eating them within the correct food combining practices. If you go to my website, 𝐸𝐶oach, I have an ebook on there called The Natural Reset that you can. It's by donation only, so whatever feels comfortable for you. It's 60 something pages. It has an 8-week transition guide, how you can transition yourself to a healthier diet. But it also has tons of information, including food combining practices. So it actually has a chart in there for you so you can see exactly what fruits are best to combine. It has some calorie information for each fruit so you know how much of each fruit you need to eat. It also has a grocery list in there and a bunch of other stuff. So check that out, Arlene, if you are thinking about doing that. And it's not just necessarily going to a fruitarian diet, it's implementing more fruitarian aspects into your diet. Take it one step at a time and give yourself grace. That's truly what it's all about. And feel free, ask as many questions as you like, Arlene. Great question. Thank you. And good luck, for sure. I'm here for you if you need. So good stuff. Yeah. You're very, very, very welcome. Yeah, so that's truly what it's about, one meal at a time. It was, for me, going from vegetarian 8 years ago to where I am now was a process. Because I thought just going vegetarian was enough. I thought I give up meat, I'm going to be healthy. but I wasn't. I ended up being a very unhealthy vegetarian because I was just eating like I was eating foods that were like mock-ups of meat. You know what I'm saying? Beyond Burgers and just trying to compensate for the meat I wasn't eating, right? So that was the first issue, and I started gaining weight. And while some of the ailments I was having was subsiding, it was never foolproof. I was still dealing with stuff, and the weight gain was tremendous because I was living on starches. To be honest, I was living on starches and complex carbs, and fat, right? So once I understood how the body started working, I started reading books. I started following some of these natural paths and really understanding, from Lauren Whitman to Dr. Morse to 𝐸𝐻𝐾 to Dr. Douglas Graham, and started to understand how the body actually worked. You know, that's when I started really making the changes. And it happened about 3 years ago. I made that change and I saw the weight come off so fast. I felt better. I looked better. And my mind was thinking better. Yeah, the whole gamut. The ailments subsided completely. I was curing stuff instead of just treating stuff. And yeah. So like I said, it's all about implementing these things into your current lifestyle. I don't recommend the whole cold turkey thing. Some people can do it, great for them, but I don't recommend it. That's not what I coach. That's not what I profess because it's hard to change habits if you don't do them within the flow of life. And you know what I'm saying? When you wake up tomorrow and say, you know what, I'm not going to eat processed food for 30 days. It's tough for most people because you're not changing habits. You're just, like I said, you're going something cold turkey and you're just kind of throwing it against the wall and hoping it sticks. When you do these things gradually, you start to change habits and then you start to change mindset. And then ultimately these short term changes become long-term changes, right? And that's ultimately what it's about. Hey, Kinley, you're back. Welcome back. Appreciate you jumping back on. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. And I talk about a lot of that, and I'm gonna plug my book every single time I get on here. So my book coming out, I'm actually gonna be dropping the pre-order for it in the next 2 weeks. So make sure you get on the wait list. You can go to the 𝐸𝐻𝐾.com and put in your email so you'll get notified as soon as I drop the pre-order link so you can get your copy. Detox Yourself, the secret to freeing your mind and creating a healthy life. Um, Look, this book is really about what I feel it truly takes to fully detox yourself and, have the life you've always wanted. And people, when they hear detox, they think of from a physical standpoint. Yeah, I need to detox my body. I'm going to take some pills, for 30 days and it's going to clean me out. Like that's what people think detoxing is truly about. But this book really shows you a full mind, body, and soul detox and how it will manifest and change your life. 100%. It's kind of what I went through, and I talk about it in here. And yeah, definitely check that out. What's up, party people? Thanks for sponsoring my name for sure, Kinley. Okay, hey, can I get some subscriptions here? Can I get a subscribe and a like, my peoples? That's what I'm hoping for. I appreciate you. But anyways, look, I'll be back tomorrow. Giving everybody an update on what I eat tomorrow. I gotta re-up again. I feel like I go to the grocery store every few days. What I do. But yeah, got to re-up again, get some more groceries, add some creative aspects to this fruitarian diet and keep it moving. All right. So, I did want to update for anybody who's still watching with me. Um, I feel like I'm over my detox. I went through a little bit of a healing event in the last few days, and I feel like I'm over it. I feel like I'm good now. I'm not feeling any of those symptoms that I was having before. So my body did what it needed to do. And here I am, right? Happy, smiling, and ready to move forward. All right. So anybody out there who is in the middle of their challenge, whether that's the Fruitarian challenge or giving up coffee or giving up meat or giving up bread, giving up cheese, whatever it is, more power to you, peace and love, and give us an update. I'd love to hear it. All right, everybody? Well, I'm out of here. You guys be good. Peace, love, and light.